If you're like us, you've probably spent the last year working from home. So we thought in the third episode of the Coffee Club, we're going to go through the things that we think we absolutely nailed this year, what hasn't gone so great and we've completely failed in regards to our work from home, work-life balance, and hopefully at the end give a few tips that if you're struggling and feeling the burnout of actually a whole 365 days being in your living room, then this might help you out. It might be the video for you. So grab a coffee and join us in the chat.
Yeah, so it's been a year, both of us, since we started working from home, and we found the work-life balance like a really good thing at the beginning. Then at say around November, December time, we really started to completely lose it. There was no boundaries anymore. Different things like social anxiety, bit of a burnout feeling where, I don't know, it was a bit overwhelming to be locked in winter in your house. It was just like a bit of a difficult work-life balance, and we started to stop doing things that we used to do really well at the beginning of lockdown.
I think after a year we felt that burnout really kick in, the demotivation, things kind of, I guess the thing that we got pleasure in before and the excitement around work from home, suddenly it becomes routine and we weren't really appreciating all the mindful activities we were doing. We lost track of our development and everything kind of became too normal and really infringing on our lives. So
I think it's like when we used to go to the office, the drive to the office or the metro commute to the office, like you get used to it. It's, you know, you were like, either you were taking a bad habit of being on your phone or like, but here now it's the same. So if we're going to walk like our commute to the office in the morning, we still talk a lot about work, or we think a lot about work, or we do things that, you know, it should be like a moment for ourselves, but we just don't do it anymore. I think there was a bit of a feeling of like feeling a bit lethargic recently as well. Though we do like, I mean, I personally love working from home because it gives me so much more time to do things. But it's just like refining that balance and alignment to make sure you're at your top productivity and well-being when you actually get into your work routine. You kind of enjoy working from home too, right?
I do, for sure. I think it gives you a lot more, like I say, when the commute's gone, there's a lot of opportunities working from home where you're in your own space and you can really kind of settle in sometimes and be really productive. But also on the flip side, if you don't give yourself those boundaries, it can intrude a lot into your personal space, if that makes sense.
So I mean, it looks like we're probably gonna kind of still work from home for a while, and I think it's always nice to, at some point when you feel like things don't go right, to have a reset, to kind of question yourself, okay, what was working well at the beginning, what's stopped being great, what else could you do to actually reset completely. And I think considering it's been a year, I feel like it's kind of spring cleaning time as well, where like you kind of reset completely before spring and get ready with a new kind of 365 days, but on track again.
It's reflecting everything that we've done over the last year and really seeing what's worked well for us. When did we feel our best? When did we feel our worst?
So should we start with like the 3 things that we did really well? So like kind of reflecting back to last year.
This isn't necessarily work from home specific, but it's something that I've really capitalised and put a focus on this year, is actually prioritising my workday and potentially start writing to-do lists that are only 6-7 items long of the key intentions and priorities that I want to achieve in a day. And that way it really helps me kind of switch off in the evening, knowing that I've done my main priorities. I'm actually prioritising my workday. I'm being more productive in those hours that I'm working.
Do you put only work stuff on those to-do lists, or also like home chore stuff?
Sometimes I put both. So I put a bit of everything. So I generally split up my to-do list into 5 items that are work related, 2 items that are personal related, and 1 general chore, errand, things that would get left. Yeah, the personal admin that would get left for
bills.
Weeks and weeks. Exactly. As a general rule of thumb, next time you write a to-do list, try 5 work items, 2 personal items, and 1 admin item. If you get those 8 things done in a day, then that's a complete success. 1 for every hour that you're going to work, for example. It's learning to work and live at the same time.
Oh, that's a nice goal. I like that. Yeah, so I think for me, I'm not as good as you in terms of like prioritizing on my. I think my to-do list is still pretty much like feel like 30 things to do. But I've started to prioritize as well. So I do what you told me to do, which was around choose at least one thing that, you know, if you go to bed like you want to go to bed with this thing done, like out of the way. And I think this works really well for me when I get really overwhelmed about, oh, there's the laundry to do, but I also need to do like those 3 calls, or I need to send this report. I think it's quite nice to know that one thing that, you know, you want to complete by the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like think in the morning, what's the one thing that when I go to bed I want to have achieved? And just focusing on making it one thing can be as easy or hard as you like, but it will really help when you are going to bed in the evening. You can be grateful and just reflect, oh, I did that today.
Yeah, but I think your concept works really well for the work and work-life balance working from home, because it really makes you do those 4 or 5 like work-related tasks, but you also have those 2 chores that are typical of being home.
It makes you think of your day as not just focused around work when you wake up.
Yeah, I think for me that's more like the key point of your theory, is the idea that when you look at your morning to-do list, you know, you can see that it kind of separates your work task and your home checklist. And I guess this is how you'll set your boundaries internally. You're like, right, I'm going to tick those 3 reports for work, but I then also have this task to do for the house, and I completely switch off for work for like 10 minutes to do that admin thing. And
yeah, exactly.
So another thing that we started, a year ago now, that for me completely changed my well-being. It's going to sound super simple and like probably everybody's doing it now, but it's that morning walk before work and breakfast. So not even like after breakfast, literally waking up, getting dressed, whether it's raining, windy, sunny. I mean, sunny is the best, is to get out there and walk at least like 30 minutes, and it's just you come back and then you can have your breakfast and start your work day. And this is like, just for me, it's so valuable to get in the right mindset, to not think about anything. I'm not going to say it's, you know, sometimes you go on that morning walk and you know what's coming for work, so it's in your head, but you know, slowly within 5-10 minutes you forget about it, because you're on your morning walk, and it just completely helps like getting the legs stretched. And this is how you make the most of working from home as well, is having this free time, not sat in traffic in the car or commuting, to actually get that, like those morning steps to help you for the day.
And I think even if you are preoccupied with work, having the clarity that just being outside gets you, it stops you from just jumping straight in. With the desk being downstairs, there's the temptation to just roll out of bed at 8:45 and then just start work straight away, without the actual clarity to plan or really think about what order you're going to do things in and what actually needs to be done. So I think sometimes getting out and actually giving that perspective of your day and really thinking from a bird's eye view, you're not in your office, you're just in a neutral space in the open air, and gives you that clarity of mind to really see what's coming up in your day. Some days when we've kind of cut it short, or it's only been 5 minutes, or we've just come downstairs, had breakfast straight away and started work, it's just not the same. It's just really not the same.
I think it helps as well, like for me, from I guess physical health perspective as well, where like it just feels good to have a bit of steps and physical activity first thing in the morning. So like then, in case you have a long day and meetings just keep coming up and you have no, you know, lunchtime, it would be great if you could have like an hour every day, but not everybody can do that. So at least if you are to have like a big day where everything's going to be difficult to fit in, it gives you a little bit of like steps to, like, your mind is a bit like, it's fine, I might not be able to like do that many steps during the day, but like I can do it in the morning and in the evening, and it helps.
We've tried a few times as well to work out in the morning, but for some people that might be what is good for them. They might really enjoy a 5-10k run in the morning, a morning HIIT workout, a bike ride, to really set their mind on work. But for me personally, and I think for you as well, it's hard to get that motivation in the morning to really go all out for a workout. So a walk is a really nice way to get some gentle exercise and get all those endorphins and all the good chemicals that you get from exercise. And the third thing that we've felt like we nailed at the start of working from home was our self-development. With a lot of courses coming out, we were learning new things, learning new skills, really actually taking some time for our self-development, getting that commute time back. We found that we were spending a lot of time working on ourselves and taking the time to do the things that we've always wanted to do but never had time for.
Pottery, painting, lol. No, it was more like, learning to blog, learning to use software.
And just little classes on Skillshare and things on branding that just...
You did a course in branding and did a course in sustainability. and a hospitality management. You did a course and different things as well.
Yeah. And I think it's just breaking free of the mould of the profession that you're in and seeing yourself as a whole-rounded human, and actually you can develop in areas that you personally want to develop. For me personally, the courses weren't necessarily to do with my career, but it's something that I wanted to do personally, and I guess that's the whole point of personal development, right? And you take the time for you to learn what you want to do.
And I think I guess it's a bit easier to do that at home because you've got, you can be in pajamas, you can be in your work gear, you can just like do it with your laptop before you switch on to work. Whereas like if you were going to the office, I guess there's that extra time of commute, or like honestly trying to learn a course in the tube, or I don't know, in a busy kitchen at lunch in an office is not necessarily the best place to do it.
Yeah. I guess over a while there's only a certain number of courses we can do. We did it for 2-3 months.
Until the summer, I think, April to like August, September.
Yeah. But then we found this is something that not slipped off, but
it just takes a lot of time in the end. There's a point where like when you've learned, you've stuff your brain with so much, you're just like, right, I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Or if you try to do too many things, where I was trying to do 2 different courses in hospitality and sustainability, and also adding a language, and I was just like, well, I just need to face it. There's no way I can handle 3.
Yeah. The amount of times I've tried to learn French over the last year, got my 30-day Duolingo streak, but then I've stopped, and then I've started again the next month. Then I bought a grammar book. Then I got an audio book.
Attached up there.
I've done the first 4 pages. So that's the main thing we've learned, is we really see work from home and the opportunities it provides for self-development, but we learned that it's important to just focus on the one thing you want to do. Really focus on what exactly is the skill you want to develop, the area you want to learn about, the language, whatever it is, the hobby you want to start even. But really implement your focus in that one area rather than trying to overstretch in too many different directions and learn a class in the morning and then a lunchtime class, then an evening class, and then go for a run in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Stretching yourself too thin.
It's about balance.
Yeah.
You have to, it's almost like with self-development, it's like you have to do work, self-dev, life balance. So it's like, almost like 3 areas to balance out.
Yeah.
We also have some fails, some big ones.
Yeah, we didn't do. There were some things we just didn't do great at all.
I guess for us, the first big fail, even though we're really good with the morning routine, I think we really nailed that. We've got that nice 2-hour routine before we get started with work. The evening, on the other hand, is just absolutely not a routine. It's just either social media, screen, stress, walks talking about work. It's not really switching off. And we've tried that, like, I'm going to do yoga every evening for a week, or breath work. We did the breath work for like a week every morning and evening, and then that just like disappeared.
Faded away.
Just gone. What do you think like kind of made us not stick to that?
I'd say for me, morning routine is easy because you wake up with the energy, and it's easier to make decisions in the morning when you're I say fresh out of bed. When there's
fresh egg.
When you're caffeinated, or as you're just starting your day, and you're full of optimism. But then as you kind of go through your work day and you've used all of your concentration, and if you've had to concentrate all day on a task, then the last thing you want to be doing come 6 o'clock is consciously choosing to not be on screen. I think once you've worked all day, for me at least, I get quite tired, and it's just easy after building the habit of scrolling or going on YouTube or anything. The thing you want to do is just be just a bit mindless, like not really mindful.
So this is why we started to do offline weekends.
Which is why we did offline.
We made a video about it, by the way. We had a few nice evenings where we've managed to switch off, try to go on a walk, not to talk about work, but that's very reliant on the fact that you had a good day. I guess it comes easier in the summer where the daylight is a bit longer and you feel a bit more energized, but yeah, definitely a big fail area that we need to work on.
And I'd say the second fail that kind of goes off the back of that is setting boundaries between work and home life. Sometimes after work, when you switch off and you turn around your chair and suddenly you're in the living room after being at the office all day, and it's the same space, and you work out, you sleep, you eat, you live all within the same room, basically. it's hard to set those boundaries and really switch off after work, which we've tried hiding laptops after work, switching off phones, but at the end of the day, it's still always up here that even if you physically remove it from your space, it's always personally in my head. So having that mental barrier was something that I completely failed at this year.
I think I'm a bit better at this, because sometimes, again, this is absolutely not like a yoga thing, but sometimes after work I would go upstairs, put the diffuser on, the salt lamp on, and I think it's all about it's making the room look different.
Yeah.
So like by, I don't know, moving a plant, hiding the laptop, like kind of switching on the dim lights rather than the big office light, and things like that.
And so I would say over the weekend, physically hiding the laptop and us going offline definitely helps with weekend well-being, and not really thinking about the fact that it's the office.
Yeah, because then it makes you excited when you go, when it's Monday and it's like the fresh start to a new week, and it's like opening the drawer, like getting the laptops back on, and you recreate your office life. So even houseplants, for example, they're here right now, but they're on my desk. So then it's kind of transforming the desk into a houseplant setting, and then like the jungle, and then on the Monday it's moving the plants more back into the kitchen, and I recreate the workspace. And I guess it's like the trick is to kind of move things around in your house so that you recreate different spaces.
Exactly.
To help.
It takes 10 minutes on a Friday, but it's absolutely worth it in terms of switching off and getting that balance.
Last fail. To be fair, I think that's the biggest one. It's not really a fail, it's just that because we've been working from home, we have a coffee machine. We have probably about 92 different varieties of like coffee pods, a lot of food, and yet we still go on so many takeaway coffee walk, and we just take it so much for granted. We've really lost, I think with 1 year working from home, we've really lost the appreciative feeling of getting a takeaway coffee and buying little treats. As a weekend treat has now become an actual workday routine, and it's not necessarily the most economic routine, and also it doesn't make that, again it goes back to that work-life balance, because now we're getting our little treat and coffee on work days, but because we also do it on weekends, it almost makes the weekend look like a work day. And
100%,
I think so we kind of started to have a really bad routine of kind of indulging in food even during the work week, and I think I still like the idea of kind of indulging on the Friday evening after work, thank God it's Friday, and kind of like Saturday weekend vibe thing. I think we lost track a little bit of that.
Definitely. And it's just that gratefulness of what you have. It's like you say, we have a fridge full of food, but we'll always walk to the shops, because work from home does give you the freedom to do that. It gives you the less commute time, so we are able to go for a walk.
More time to cook. The fridge is full, but you know what, I fancy cheese, let's go buy cheese.
Exactly. And because of our big wins and major parts of our routine now is going for a walk, it would be rude not to pick up a coffee when we do go for a walk in the morning. Even just going for a walk now seems like it's not enough. You have to come back with a coffee, and making breakfast, just a simple porridge and fruit bowl isn't enough, because we could get bread and avocado and eggs and suddenly become a brunch chef every morning at 8:30.
Yeah, I like that though.
I do like it.
We basically brunch even during work days, basically.
Which is great. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just being more appreciative when we do it, because it has started to become, we make it, we go back to our desks, we just sit there, and don't get me wrong, I still enjoy it every morning and it really sets me up for the day, but it's learning to be a bit more grateful and appreciative for what we have, and having that coffee and actually sipping it mindfully, or having a couple of bites of your breakfast mindfully, and just not rushing around really, and actually taking the time to appreciate what you have is something that has generally just bombed over this year.
Yeah, I think potentially, I say I don't know, I'm kind of assuming something here, but I guess some people with the lockdown and the work from home have got did the opposite, so they started to kind of roll out of bed really late, not really taking the time to make food in the morning, or just got bored of just being home and eating. What I feel it's been the opposite. We've really taken the full opportunity to kind of cook a lot, make our own super healthy, super filling breakfast thing to fuel the day, which I think is still something that we should keep doing, because it just helps so much for productivity. It's just what you were saying, the gratefulness,
it's the mindset.
the mindset of like not take, you know, that like 5 minute of just like eating everything before the work day because like, oh, this is the new type of breakfast thing. And
exactly.
just, yeah.
It's like, although it has become the new norm to have before work, it's not treating it as normal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think for the coffee as well, like, I mean, it's because there's not much to do at the moment, so we really find happiness and, you know, like amusement in like getting that new coffee shop thing. But realistically speaking, we've got really nice coffee here, and I think we need to retake the habit of making our own. And it's, you know, still the process of like frothing the milk, making the coffee. There's that nice smell of coffee in the house, which I think will definitely help again. Switching from that like just Walker bedroom to suddenly the house is smelling like a coffee shop, which transforms a bit like the living room as an office vibe as well.
Definitely. So that was our, I guess, year in review of working from home. If you're feeling like us, potentially a bit overwhelmed, a bit burnt out, looking for that little bit of motivation, then we hope this is potentially something that might get you back on track. And I guess, the overview of what we've really nailed this year is our morning walks. Couldn't live without them. Every morning, taking out for a half hour for that clarity and physical movement just to boost our day.
Yeah, prioritizing the to-do list as well, making sure there's a mixture of work tasks but also a few self-dev and home chores as well, so your mind is like, you know, not just doing one thing.
Exactly. Taking the time to actually focus on your personal development, not linking it to your career or any expectations, doing what you want to do, but actually only really focusing on one thing meaningfully rather than trying to do too many courses and skills and being pulled in all the different directions.
That's probably the biggest lesson we got from this year, trying 100%. To give 25% in 4 different projects when we just want to give 100% in one.
In one, exactly.
And I guess as well, like the what kind of like more fails that we didn't do that we want to try to implement this year to make that second year of work from home a bit more mindful and a bit more, you know, just, it's not better, but just like kind of reset and like go back on track would be establishing a better evening routine where we properly switch off and get that work-life balance a bit better.
Yeah.
And I personally want to try to meditate a bit more. I'm really not patient, but I really want to try to to try to give the effort, see if that makes any difference.
Exactly. Implementing those psychological barriers between yourself and work, even if you can't escape the space physically, do as much as you can by hiding the laptops, hiding the phone, hiding the screens, packing things away, but actually giving yourself the mental gaps by going to meditate, going on a walk, calling a friend, just doing something to separate your work from your life.
Yeah, I think then being a bit more off screen as well. It sounds super cliche and typical, but it is something where like, because we're all a bit bored at home, we just, you know, fall into the trap of social media, so trying to reduce a little bit this as well.
Exactly. And I think the final thing is just generally being appreciative and stop taking for granted being able to work from home. It's like it's a great opportunity to actually do all these things and be productive, work on your development, be mindful, and just not taking it for granted and appreciating just the small things like making coffee, being able to make food in your own kitchen, or just working in the comfort of your own home, wearing what you want.
I was about to say, because I think what we've been taken for granted is mainly the fact that like we have that freedom of, you know, being safe at home. We're not frontline workers. We are actually in our little bubble, and we've got time to do things. We are also not, you know, there's only the 2 of us in the house, so we're not too much, you know, it's not like a massive house with like grandparents, parents, sisters, babies, kids, pets and everything. So we actually get that freedom to do our own lifestyle.
Yeah.
That we just take for granted, really.
So whatever it is, do it gratefully. Even doing this video and just having a short reflection has made me a lot more grateful of the last year. And even without doing anything, just take some time just to reflect on your last year and look back at everything you've done. There's certainly things that we've done, courses I've taken, skills I've learned that I completely forgotten that I've done in the last year. And just actually think back all the places you've been, all the things you've done, and be grateful of those experiences and work out what actually has worked well for you. What did you do on days where you felt really good? What happened on days where you didn't feel so great? And just spend some time today reflecting on that and setting yourself up for the next year to make it even better than this one.
And get excited. So if you're also struggling to kind of, do that reflection, because it's always a bit difficult sometimes to self-reflect, we've made that journal, which is a prompted journal that's going to help you, kind of find ways of exploration for yourself and emotions. So have a look. It's free. It's free to download, and it's fun as well to do.
And there's 4 full memes out already, so if you haven't tried any, you've got a full 4 months to catch up on. And like you say, hopefully it'll really help you explore, realign, recenter, and get back on track for this year.
Yeah. So we'd be actually super keen to understand if we are the only ones who had this kind of really, not rough ending, but kind of like lethargic ending, and the need to restart. So if you got any sort of like, other emotions, any sort of, work-life balance tips, routines, things that work, things that don't work, we'd love you to share it with us, so we can explore it and see if that would help as well. We're not just here to give like tips, we also like to learn from others, so that'd be great. And you can also find us on Instagram if you do not follow us yet. Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe.
And subscribe.
Because we look like, we make us look cool.